Hello and welcome back to the channel of motorbike nonsense. Yeah, what sort of motorbiking do you do in your head versus what sort of motorbiking do you do for realsies? Because in my mind there's quite a big disconnect between the two. I thought I'm going to get an adventure bike and spend my life in Europe and felching sand in the dunes of Dakar. Actually, I'm just using it to go in a 40 limit to Crawley. Yeah, motorbike dealer near Gatwick Airport to get it serviced. But over the past week or two I've kind of fallen into the trap that I've been trying to avoid. No, I don't mean doing a single GoPro video so you don't get a shot of me, which is quite boring, but you'll have to make do. What I mean is I've started looking at new bikes. I've said repeatedly this is fine, I love it, but there is a new bike on the horizon, which is something completely different, something a little bit new, something a little bit of a throwback, if you will. You might have seen the news that KTM, purveyors of fine orange Austrian motorbikes, beloved of GS haters, are bringing out the 990. It's not a 990, it's an 890 SMT. And years ago there was a 990 SMT, hence bald man getting confused here. It was an adaptation of their 990 Supermoto, but the T on the end stood for touring, so you could stick panniers on it, had a bit more weather protection, a bit of a screen, I think a slightly more upright posture, but it was still a bonkers 990cc, well-ish, Supermoto for touring on. And if that doesn't sound absolutely wicked, I don't know what does. And I always wanted to buy one, but that kind of from that era of KTM where there were little Austrian witches in the electronics, in the engines, and things didn't always work, and you might have had a 50-50 chance of making it to your destination. Oh, I'm just going. So I never bought one, and they also looked a little bit cheap and plasticky back in the day when KTM still were very much a purveyor of dirty rutting bikes, like your mum. So I never bought one, but there's this new 890 one coming out. It's about, God, it must be like 15 years since the last one, something like that. And I don't know much about it, but I sort of am in love with the idea of it already, which is dangerous, seeing as I'm about to go to a KTM dealer on my KTM. Take from that what you will, especially if you work at HSBC. Yeah, so what we know about this new 890 SMT so far is it's going to basically, I think, looking at it from a slightly boring logistical how to make bikes for a profit point of view, it's going to be an 890 Adventure, which has just been quite comprehensively updated, but with some slightly different bodywork, without the ball bag tanks swinging between your ankles with their sacks of spunk, and it's going to have a 17-inch front wheel, and that's the thing that's got me excited. I know it's a very boring thing to get excited about, the loss of 2 inches, but you know, if it was from my waistline I'd be going outside with fireworks and a dead badger around my neck covered in blood, saying thank you to the gods, and because I'm a Viking. So yeah, this has got a 19-inch front wheel, and it handles really well, with the caveat that it's got a 19-inch front wheel. And I think most bike journalists these days would tell you, oh well, most adventure bikes got 19-inch front wheel, you can't really tell the difference between that and a 17. I'm sorry, but after a while you kind of can, a little bit. Also your tyre choice is quite limited. Obviously I've not got massively sporty rubber on this, I've got all the Conti Trail Attack 3s, which are really good, they warm up quickly, etc, etc. But this is going back to the original point of my video. In my head, the riding I do is on sunny days, coming out of corners, on the back wheel, crossed up in a massive, like, license plate scraping wheelie, laughing in my helmet. And therefore, a Supermoto that can do touring is a better bike for me than this slightly overweight, overpowered, highly electronic thing that's about to go out of warranty. That might also have something to do with my my thought process. I'm not sure I fancy owning this out of warranty, and it finishes in July. So yes, obviously I don't ride like that. I ride, look, I'm riding in the rain, trying to avoid patches of oil on broken, crappy roads on the way to probably pay 200 quid to get this serviced for the year. But you know what, I don't care. I still kind of want whatever this SMT turns out to be, and that's the dangerous thing. I don't know the first thing about this bike. Well, that's not true, I've researched the hell out of it, but no official details are out yet. All the internet rumours suggest it's going to have Slightly disappointingly, the lower powered version of the 890 parallel twin, and we can all get snooty and snobby. We can all get snotty about parallel twins because they're usually about as interesting as your mum's labia, but they are good in the KTM. The KTM 890 parallel twin is a proper little fire starter. It just like, it crackles and it fizzes and it feels exciting, much like the engine in this does. So they've done magic to that engine. But I know there are two versions, at least two versions of that engine. There's one in the 890 Adventure, it's got 103 horsepower, and then there's the really good one in the 890 Duke R, which is one of my favourite bikes of all time. I'm just a bit too big for it, otherwise I'd buy one of those. And I think the SMT, bear with me, is getting the less powerful one of those. It looks, from leaked information, that it might be getting the 103 horsepower version. And as I always say on the channel, don't judge a bike by its on paper figures, because that's nonsense. So I still reckon KTM will pull it out of the hat and it'll be an amazingly exciting fun bike to ride. Hopefully it comes on nice sticky rubber and they kind of position it more as a fun bike than a touring bike. I want a fun bike that can tour. That's what I want. That's why that bike speaks to me. But the long and short of this is, I'm going to a KTM dealer. Do I get them to give me a Part X valuation for this and maybe put a deposit down on a bike that I know nothing about? It's probably not sensible, is it? I also want the new Street Triple, which is I don't know, I could have seen it coming, to be honest. I've got that thing, like a lot of bikers, where they kind of want to hark back to their first bike. My first bike was a Street Triple, and the new one comes in yellow, and it looks like an absolute riot. I looked at 4040's video last night, Bike World's video with brilliant Lara. The new Street Triple looks phenomenal. I just want to see a bit more kind of road riding of it first before I make any decision. The Street Triple's also a bit of a Billy bargain. Good morning, Mr. Suzuki, I'm coming over. Actually, I'm going to take this person and come over. Battle of Triumph KTM in my mind, or just do the sensible thing and not spending money and stick with this. The only thing is, I reckon the 890 SMT is going to cost about as much as what I paid for this, which I reckon it's going to be a 13 grand bike. I paid 12.5 for this. Admittedly, that's 4 grand off list of this. And as I've said, you should never buy a KTM new, because you just don't. Are you crossing? You're crossing. Because they always do sales in winter, and then you'll have a bike that's had 4 grand wiped off its value overnight, which is not something I want to get into, really. So yeah, I reckon that'd be 13 grand. The Street Triple, yeah, Street Triple's 11. KTM, I reckon would be 13. I should just stick with this. I probably will just stick with this. But oh my gosh, there are some exciting bikes this year, and I mean that in the nicest possible way of not everything is a litre sports bike anymore. I used to get a bit bored when the new bike news was just, oh, there's another litre sports bike that's got an extra half a horsepower, and you know, maybe some carbon fibre that it didn't have. Oh, they've changed the chassis geometry. I will really feel that as I go down Reigate High Street. Exciting times in my head, less exciting time my bank balance, and hopefully my Super Adventure isn't listening to me, because otherwise it'd probably get a bit shitty. I used to come down here all the time to go to hospital in Redhill, because both of my kids were born in Redhill, and I had to go there every month for the 9 months of each of their gestations to get them scanned to make sure they were growing correctly for various medical reasons. So yeah, I used to do this a lot. I've done this drive at least once with someone having contractions next to me. It wasn't on the KTM, although this does give me bum contractions sometimes, especially when you gas it on wet manhole covers. Gosh, this is full of innuendo today, isn't it? Are you going to slip out? You're going to slip on my manhole cover and twisted ankle? Ooh, suits you, sir. What was I talking about? If you stuck with this, well done. You get the George Cross for services to bad YouTubing. Yeah, do you get that thing where you think, oh yeah, do you know what, I do track days all the time. I'm basically Valentino Rossi in a fat suit. You stay there, Audi Q2. And then you realise that actually I've bought a Yamaha R7 or something. I need wrists replacing, and it's not much fun riding it to work. Or I've bought a GS with the adventure kit and I put knobblies on it, and that drone really annoys me on the M25 on the way to the London office every morning. I think we all do it, right? And I think motorbikes as toys are a perfect expression of who you want to be as much as who you are. I mean, I bought this for very practical reasons, because I'm tall and I fit on it and it does little wheelies, and if I was going to get something like the 890 SMT, I think it would be me trying to say, I'm still young, I can probably not get away with wearing camouflage pattern Kevlar jeans, but by gum, look at me with my monster hoodie over my leathers. I don't do that. You can't see me today, but I'm not wearing that. I'm wearing textiles because I'm a sensible man. But yeah, I sort of think I want a new bike. Oh dear, we all knew it was coming, and I'm not going to call this video, oh, I'm getting a new bike, because I hate that cycle of YouTube clickbaitiness of like, it happens most in the car world of, I bought a new car, oh, what colour should I wrap it? Should I stick a stupid exhaust on it? It's content, but it's not the sort of content I can be asked to do, frankly. I much prefer just waffling and put people to sleep. And annoyingly, these vlogs are actually doing reasonably well, so thank you for watching them. I will keep doing them, and I'll stop saying and sucking air in between my teeth, which is really annoying when I'm editing it. So if there are lots of jump cuts in this video, it's because I can't breathe through my nose very well and I keep going which must be really annoying. So I try to edit it out and save you from the oral hell. That's aural, A-U-R, not oral hell. That's a nightclub in Berlin, where you have to do things with fruit. But yeah, I'm trying to save you from that. Anyway, I'm going to stop shitting on. What's the time? Oh, it's 20 to 9. I'm going to be working from the motorbike dealer today. Get my laptop out, sit in the corner and wait for them to come and tell me my bike is goosed, and they'll never buy it from me in a million years. See you in a bit. I had to stop recording because I couldn't stop singing. Is that an AMG taxi? That's ridiculous. Is that an E63? It's a taxi. Sorry, yes. A bit of a musical morning. I've been singing and I've now got a wet leg, and that's a popular band, so there's a musical reference for you. And we're coming up to Motorcycle Nirvana, or P&H Motorcycles in Crawley. They're a multi-franchise dealer. They do Honda, KTM, Kawasaki, Suzuki, and the red Italian one, whatever that's called, Ducati. That is it. Yeah, very exciting. They can sell you all the things. I'm not affiliated to them. I've never bought a bike from them, but I do use them for my servicing. And they have got a speed camera right outside. Right, I've got to go around the back to find the service entrance of Motorcycle Nirvana. Nirvana. Here we are now. Please maintain us. They've cleaned it. That's the most cleaning this bike has ever had. So yeah, full marks to P&H here in Crawley. That was a cheaper visit than anticipated. Thankfully, the service was 220 quid. They've cleaned my bike and I didn't buy a new one. So get in. I kind of tried to make them sell me a Super Duke, but yeah, wasn't happening. So anyway, I'm going to go home and enjoy having a properly adjusted chain, which is it's not something I've had for a while, to be honest. How do I go home? Right, GoPro's completely dead. Thank you for watching this. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't do any of those things unless you really want to, and I'll see you next time when I will be somewhere a bit more interesting than Crawley, maybe. Bye. You can't see me. Bye. I'm brilliant.